In all honesty, Aone wasn't sure why he was the one chosen for the challenge. Sure, he was no stranger to initiating contact between them, but he preferred normal kisses over the more heated ones. Unless they led to more heated moments, that is. He couldn't even recall when was the last time he kissed Kenji's neck outside their bedroom. However, despite risking disappointing Kenji this time around, he came to a conclusion he could use the challenge to sort some things out. Unless he managed to hurt him with the suggestive kiss while not planning on following through. But he couldn't otherwise. Kenji's knee was still a work in progress, and one wrong move could reset all progress. He didn't want that. And so he postponed the challenge until the late evening when they sat on the couch together, sharing snacks and fluffy blanket while watching some drama Kenji put on. Aone couldn't care less about the series, but seeing Kenji snuggled to him like an overgrown cat, almost mesmerized by what was happening on the screen, he couldn't help but be content. At least he looks happy now. The truth was, moments like this had become a rarity lately. Even that day, Aone couldn't overlook how self-conscious Kenji was about everything, glancing at him every time like a kid making sure he didn't do anything wrong. And Aone hated it. Please let this challenge be an icebreaker. That would be amazing. He smiled lightly when Kenji stirred in his arms, grumbling quietly as he snuggled deeper into the embrace. Tired? Not really. You're just so comfy it makes me sleepy. Isn't that a good thing? To that, Kenji huffed and wiggled around a bit before settling with his chin leaned against Aone's chest. It is, but I'm trying to watch the story here. I can't nod off now, it just got interesting. What's so interesting about them screaming at each other because they can't understand they don't work well together? It's the drama. You have to appreciate the drama. But why? Humming, Kenji turned his attention back to the TV. Because it's entertaining, okay? He lowered his voice, but Aone heard him regardless. And because you can tell yourself that your problems aren't as bad. Aone paused. Problems? Kenji, do you want to tell me something? He felt Kenji freezing in his arms, very much answering his question despite his next words. No? Why would you ask that? Sitting up earned Aone a whine from Kenji, but that was the last problem on his mind. He squeezed Kenji's hand, praying he was wrong. Is something troubling you? About our relationship? Huh? No, of course not. Then what did you mean? Kenji, you have to tell me if something is wrong. His chest constricted when Kenji pulled away. But there's nothing wrong. I didn't mean... It wasn't even aimed at us, really. Then what's going on? You've been acting so careful around me lately, as if you were worried to do anything. I don't know what changed, but I don't like it at all when you are very around me. He stopped, a sudden realization of what could have happened sinking his heart. Did I do something too? I did, didn't I? I'm sorry. Whatever it was, I didn't mean to, I swear. Cool hands cupped his face, his chest constricting when he saw Kenji's expression, worried and confused. Please stop thinking like this. You didn't do anything to me, honest word. You are the kindest person I know and the best boyfriend I could ask for. Well, fiancé. He let out a shaky sigh, letting his hands fall in his lap as he looked away. It's just... You are so awesome, and I don't want you to regret proposing to me. Baffled, Aone grabbed his hands, his mind racing to hopefully figure out where all that came from.
Why would I?
Because I'm me. Always rude and bratty and dumb. The words cut deep into Aona's heart despite being meant as self-deprecation. Or perhaps because of that. He carefully took Kenji's face in his palms before leaning down to press his lips against Kenji's pulse point, earning a hitched breath. Nobu? Aone hummed against his skin, giving his neck another quick peck before straightening up again and bringing their foreheads together.
That's not true at all. There's so much great about you, I could fill a whole notebook with it.
You think so?
Yes. That's why I asked you to marry me. I wouldn't be with you if I didn't love you the way you are.
He didn't wait for Kenji's answer and pulled him into a hug, soon feeling Kenji slump against him as if all the thinking completely exhausted him. Which he didn't doubt was the case.
I don't regret spending a single second with you. And I'm going to remind you as many times as you'll need to hear it.
The grip around him tightened, and he could swear he heard tears in Kenji's voice too. Thank you. Yotani was supposed to have an easier time doing this challenge than the others. In theory. Since he didn't have to wait for the right moment and could just ask, he expected everything to go smoothly. But of course, YakuLev managed to find a way to cross his plans. Or, well, not YakuLev himself. It wasn't his fault he was called away on some work-related meeting taking place who knows where out of the city, but it still made Kyotani grumpy as hell. He was supposed to get free kisses, and now he could just think longingly while sitting alone in their living room.
He could at least take Bruno with him. I would feel much better.
As if hearing his thoughts, Bruno raised his head, whining softly as he pushed his head under Kyotani's hand. Smiling, Kyotani scratched him behind the ear, earning a content, albeit a bit sad half.
I know. You miss him too, don't you?
Bruno barked in affirmation, and Kyotani sighed.
Damn the laws. What's the point of a support animal when no one lets you in with it? I don't have a good feeling about your dad going alone.
Whining softly, Bruno tilted his head.
I know he can take care of himself, but he's been really jumpy since it all went down. And he wasn't away on his own since the attack either. I don't like this, at all.
His eyes instinctively strayed to his phone, and yet he startled when it suddenly rang into the silence. He furrowed his brow when YakuLev's contact flashed on the screen and accepted the call.
What's wrong? You said you'll call after 8.
Yeah, I know, but something happened and could you pick me up? Please. Kyotani was on his feet even before YakuLev finished, already throwing a jacket over his shoulders and whistling at Bruno to follow him.
What happened? Where are you?
Remember that onsen resort north of the city?
Yeah, I know which one. Just stay where you are, okay? Don't go anywhere unless something happens. I'll be there soon, I promise.
Okay. Don't drive while on the phone, okay?
No worries, but call me if you need me.
He quickly put his shoes on and rushed to the car, only grabbing Bruno's leash along the way, his heart hammering into his ribs as he started the car and backed out of their driveway. He was sure he broke at least 3 laws before he finally spotted the resort YakuLev was talking about, but a few fines were nothing compared to his need to get his fiancée from whatever situation he found himself in. He had no idea what could scare YakuLev so much, but considering how rattled he sounded, it had to be serious. In which case, Kiotane didn't have time to waste. Just the fact they had a work meeting in onsen of all places should have been a red flag. He parked the car in front of the largest building and grabbed his phone before quickly getting both himself and Bruno out. He was just about to call YakuLev he was there when the main door opened and YakuLev rushed out with his bag in hand, constantly looking over his shoulder. Shige. YakuLev flinched, but then recognition flashed across his face and he ran straight into Kyotane's arms, hiding his face in his shoulder. It's okay. I've got you. You came. Of course we did. We are the fastest rescue squad you'll ever meet. Bruno barked as if in agreement, and YakuLev choked out a strangled chuckle. Kyotane pulled away a bit, only enough to wipe the tears from YakuLev's cheeks. Let's get you home. He guided YakuLev to the car while on a lookout for any potential danger, but it seemed like everything was quiet except for an occasional shout from somewhere in the main building. He squeezed YakuLev's hand right as he started the car, and didn't let go even after they could no longer see the lights of the resort. They drove in silence for the most of the way. YakuLev kept staring ahead, his hand still trembling in Kyotane's grasp. I swear to gods I'll tear whoever did this to shreds if I ever meet them. How dare they? I'm sorry. Kyotane shook his head, squeezing YakuLev's hand a bit tighter. Don't be, it wasn't that far. Do you want to talk about it? No. Alright, you don't have to. But please remember I'm here if you want to talk. And I'm listening. YakuLev cracked a small smile at that, his eyes glossing over again. Thank you. When they finally got home, Kyotane took everything out of the car and led still-dazed YakuLev straight into the bed. His heart ached when YakuLev curled to him with a soft whimper, clinging to his t-shirt for dear life. And so he wrapped his arms around him and pressed a kiss to his forehead, whistling at Bruno to come lay by their legs for additional safety. It's alright now, you're safe here. I won't let anyone to. I know. Thank you. For nothing. Try to sleep, okay? And don't be scared of anything. I'll protect you. Always. Are you sure this is how it's supposed to look like? Kunime shrugged, measuring the baking pan in front of him with a critical eye, a thoughtful crease appearing on his forehead. Probably. I mean, as long as the batter has the right consistency, it should be fine. You have to wing it sometimes, you know? Kindechi raised his eyebrow, amused. I didn't expect to hear that from you. What's that supposed to mean? Smiling, Kindechi wrapped his arm around Kunime's waist to tug him to his side, glad the tension from the last week was gone. Only that I love seeing you not worry about things for once. Ever since their argument, Kunime seemed to switch into his overthinking persona, and Kindechi hated it. Despite telling Kunime he wasn't upset with him anymore, Kunime didn't seem to fully register it yet. It hurt to see his beloved so tense, which was why he immediately agreed to their second attempt at cooking together when Kunime came up with it. And fortunately, everything seemed to work in his, well, theirs, favor this time. He nuzzled into the soft black hair while squeezing Kunime in his arms, his heart fluttering when Kunimi returned the embrace and even snuggled closer. Sorry about the last time.
I told you already you don't have to apologize again. I know you didn't mean for it to happen.
Sighing, Kunimi hid his face in Kindaichi's shoulder. Still, there must have been something that made you doubt.
Yeah, one stupid clickbait article and rumors. It was my fault too. You said it. If we didn't get sick of each other yet, one piece of paper won't change it. I should have realized it sooner.
Kunimi chuckled softly and stood up on his tiptoes to connect their lips. I'll take your word for it.
As you should. Let's finish this now, shall we? I have a good feeling about this.
Yeah, me too. They put the cupcakes into the oven, set the timer, and headed to their living room to wait. It only took a minute or two before Kunimi dozed off on Kindaichi's shoulder, much to Kindaichi's amusement. But he let him sleep, knowing well his fiancée didn't get enough rest in the last few days. And besides, the sight and feeling of his beloved nested against his side soothed his own soul too. He loved moments like this, quiet, peaceful and relaxed, filled with nothing but the silent love they had for each other. And on top of that, he could witness Kunimi's sleepy features firsthand, like only a very few people could.
I'm so lucky to have you, you know that?
Kunimi stirred in his sleep, and a quick glance at the clock told Kindaichi it was about to be the time to take their creations out of the oven. Then an idea formed in his head.
Just don't kill me for waking you up, please.
He shifted carefully not to shake Kunimi awake just yet, as he slowly laid him down on a couch, and then leaned down to press a kiss to his neck. A smile curled his lips when he felt Kunimi shiver and repeated the action, leaving a trail of light kisses to the conjunction of his neck and shoulder. You?
Wake up call.
He gave the quickly reddening skin one last peck before straightening up. Kunimi's eyes were blown wide, his cheeks flushed as he stared at Kindaichi with a confused, yet somewhat heated expression. Kindaichi grinned.
What's wrong, darling?
Nothing. I just didn't expect you to... Not now.
Not now what?
You know what. You never do this unless you... Kindaichi had to smile, enjoying the rare sight of seeing Kunimi flustered by the idea of having some fun time together. It was only possible because he just woke up, and Kindaichi was going to treasure the memory for sure. Taking pity, he kissed Kunimi's forehead.
It's okay, it was just a challenge. We have stuff to do, remember?
Though we do have the rest of the day. Kunimi raised his eyebrow. Your suggestion?
To continue later after we take the cupcakes out.
Rolling his eyes, Kunimi pulled him in for a proper kiss, his skin turning back into the usual color. Fine, but no wild stuff. I'm too tired for that.
Your wish is my command.
Thinking about the challenge, Lev soon realized there had to be some planning done in order for everything to go smoothly. He wasn't worried about Yaku's reaction. After all, the libero was becoming even softer for him lately, and one kiss, even if somewhat suggestive, couldn't possibly change that. The issue was one, he couldn't do the challenge inconspicuously given their height difference, and two, he had to be careful about Yaku's current mental state and health. And also look out for potential elbow hitting him in the guts in case Yaku got startled. Yet, he couldn't wait to do the challenge. Fortunately, it didn't seem like Yaku was suffering with headache this time around, and except for an occasional annoyed grumble aimed at his phone, he seemed to be in quite a good mood too.
Alright, let's go ahead with it then.
He shifted the clothes they just bought in his hands and glanced at Yaku next to him, pulling him aside just before he could hit one of the concrete pillars holding the shopping center.
You should watch the way, Mori.
Yaku blinked a few times, apparently only now realizing he almost hit his head again. Oh, sorry, I'll just deal with this and then you'll have my undivided attention.
Left side.
It's not about me. You almost hit a giant pillar and didn't even notice.
What's so important anyway?
Just some people being lazy idiots, that's all. Don't worry about it.
You aren't threatening someone again, are you?
Yaku put the phone away, raising his eyebrow. I have no idea what you're talking about. When did I ever threaten anyone with violence?
Me, for example? Just 2 days ago?
He didn't mean it as a critique. On the contrary. Yet, Yaku no less than froze after his words before averting his eyes. You know I don't mean that, right? Uncertainty almost seeped from his voice, making Lev's chest constrict. It didn't fit Yaku's personality at all, and he couldn't for the love of anything figure out what it was that made his fiancée so anxious around him. He pulled surprise Yaku to his chest, squeezing tight.
Of course I do. I didn't mean anything by it, I swear. And I mean, it was kinda deserved.
Sighing quietly, Yaku melted into Lev's embrace and even snug his arms around his waist. Just remember I don't mean it. Any of that. I'll stop saying it, I promise.
It's okay, Mori. I'm not taking it too hard in any way.
He bit his lip, contemplating whether it was a bad timing to do the challenge now. Perhaps he could shock Yaku enough for him to drop his guard and forget all the things making him nervous for a while. Before he could come to a conclusion, smaller hands cupped his cheeks. I should still watch my mouth. You know, since I gave you the ring and all. So don't hesitate to call me out if I say something hurtful, okay?
Lev grinned. Does it extend to when we watch TV?
You mean that horrible series you devour all the time?
It's not horrible. I'm calling you out on something that's hurtful.
That doesn't count.
Why?
Because it's terrible and I'm not going to pretend it's not. Not even for you. Pouting, Lev cupped Yaku's face to stop him from moving before he leaned down to press a kiss to his neck. Satisfaction flared up in his chest when he saw Yaku's stunned expression and quickly reddening face.
Is that so?
Yaku didn't say a word and instead just turned around and rushed to the escalator, leaving now dumbfounded Lev behind.
Was it bedtime after all?
Damn it. Mori, wait for me, please. I'm sorry if I offended you in some way or something. I didn't mean to. Yaku pierced him with a scorching glare, stabbing his finger into his chest. Idiot! What got into you, huh? Nothing. It was supposed to be a challenge and it seemed like a good moment to do it. He gasped for air when Yaku punched him gently in the stomach. Such an idiot. Do you know what it's like to have this done in public? And not even for real, but just for a challenge? I'm sorry. You will be when we get home. There's too many people here. I wanted to panic already when the real meaning behind Yaku's words and red face caught up to him. It wasn't a threat, but rather a promise. And it made him shiver with excitement.
Understood.